Woo!
We is live now.
We live, people.
We live. Yeah,
Come on, room. Fill up.
Holla.
Fill up.
Fill up.
Fill up.
Fill up good. I don't know where that came from.
Hi, everyone.
What's up, Cinemasis? What's up, James? James, I was going to ask you, I was going to text you, can we please have some music for... Can you create
For
us
these
something
lives.
amazing? That would be super awesome.
Love you,
Hey.
Malik. Toronto is in the house. T.O. Vancouver
Miss-
Spirit, thank you for your message today. I really appreciated that.
Miss Ashley,
Um,
Jules, Phil,
damn, these
Laura
rooms are
Lynn.
filling
I know.
up, yo.
Dude, super quick. How's everybody doing?
How y'all doing? How you doing? Colorado.
Sending live from Colombia. Love from Colombia. Thank you, Daniela. Love it.
Okay, I will answer you today. I will answer you today.
What was that like? You haven't answered my messages. Guys, yes, sorry.
I promise I will answer you today.
I know we get so many messages and
I
then
know.
and then it's kind of hard to keep up sometimes. So if you haven't gotten messages from us, I'm sorry, and we're doing our best. Love you guys, so inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
What's up, Sadie?
Sadie.
Lots of hearts.
Hello,
love
Brazil.
it.
You're welcome for the session Sunday. It was my pleasure.
Definitely in a better space since last week. Cinemassa says yes.
Hey, Rash
Crazy.
Bash. I know.
Crazy shifts. Oh,
Australia in the house.
Even since like
I'm
yesterday.
being like so weird today.
The energy went like super down and now,
now
it like
it's
lifted
super up.
and now we're like, all right, we can get back to like being our weird selves.
Today's been a fun day.
Yeah.
Like really upbeat energy.
Really good. So good. Are you guys all feeling that too?
Yeah. The last 2 weeks were a little shaky, I find, but today actually has been really good.
Aw. Whiteness says,
Thank you,
hi,
Gabby.
beautifuls. Wanted to say thank you so much for being part of our lives and giving us so much love. Bless
All right.
you and all of you. All of you. Thank you guys so much for being here. We love all of you.
We love all of you for sure. Mexico in the house.
You both are wearing white. Yes, we are.
That wasn't planned.
That wasn't planned. You guys are spiritual giants.
Ooh, I never heard that one before.
I haven't heard that one either before. That's awesome. I dig that.
Spiritual beast mode.
Yes.
Yeah, show them your jewelry.
My jewelry?
commenting. Yep.
All of it. I know. We were just saying I might need a few more on this side because this side's looking a little full.
Yeah, we're going to get her a few.
Yes. I almost bought a ring for this finger for myself, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
it works for you.
I'm only slightly obsessed.
Germany in the house too. You need to go to bed. It's like...
No,
8
they
hours-
stay up and
Okay,
watch
my bad.
We love that you're all
I
the
know
way
like
across
every
the
time
world.
zone now. I'm like, go to bed. You're 9 hours
like,
ahead. You're 8
dude.
hours ahead. That's been great about the work. Is like I know every time zone.
That's awesome. We need one of those watches that we can like
Yeah.
click over to find out where everybody's at in London.
I don't need it
Colombia.
anymore.
Okay, you know what? Shit.
All right, let's get into
Yes.
a juicy question, people.
Juicy yumminess. Do you want to go first this time since it has been on my
No,
side
because
so
I
much?
don't think I've seen one. I just saw one about synchronicity, and synchronicity just means that you're being... It's just a message from the universe.
Ooh.
It's a notification.
Ooh,
It's a delivery
It's
system.
a delivery system. Awesome.
Telling you you're on the right track.
Yes, to answer your question, this is a Herkimer diamond, and you just actually got a Herkimer diamond from my roommate.
Yeah,
Lovely
it was
gift.
very sweet.
Had a very awesome activation.
Yeah.
With your third eye. What did you say?
It
Something
was
like
for
that?
my pineal, and I put it beside my bed while I
Yeah.
was sleeping, and it just started. All right, let's get into
Yeah,
some
I know,
questions.
sorry.
This is about them. All right, let's go, people.
Let's see. Okay, so Will, telepathy. How do I stop feeling everyone's energy all the time? It's overwhelming sometimes. Great question. I think everybody in this room can probably relate to that too, right? So we're all empathic and picking up each other's, I call them signatures, like other people's signatures.
I love that.
And so sometimes it'll like come in like a wave and then like their face will pop up. And so sometimes it's, yes, can be overwhelming. So I'll tell you a trick that I learned a long time ago from one of my mentors that helped me so much. And it was almost like creating a visual of like a lamp, right? Like I always saw one as like one of those old school lamps that had like the cool drawstrings, right? And so whenever I wanted to be more open and accepting and tapping into people's energy, then I would draw the string and like the light would come on. And that meant that I was consciously and intentionally opening my centers. And then if I wanted a little bit more not to take on those energies, right, maybe a little bit more peace or kind of just processing for my own self, then I would draw the string and I would visualize that light going off. So it doesn't mean that your light goes off. It just means you're creating a visual to set an intention of what you would like to accept and not accept. And that's just kind of something on how
and everything
I
is
did it.
and everything is to be used to strengthen your energy field. So
Yeah.
as long as you're internalizing a lot of those energies and thoughts that are streaming into your consciousness, that's pointing to a crack in your field that you need to patch. Okay, so if I always think
Like
of
if it's triggering
if it's
something in
triggering
you?
something, it's an aspect of yourself that's coming that you need to reintegrate within the body, but it may be in a different wrapping paper, right?
That's
For
a good way to
me,
put it.
I always think of the energy field as the spiritual immune system.
Ooh.
So if
like that.
if you're prone to disease or to like getting sick or to the flu, it means that your immune system isn't strong enough. Same goes with your energy field. If you're constantly receiving those signatures, you have to then locate where the imbalance is within your own self, recalibrate the imbalance, right? Sometimes we have a defense wall, so we'll keep getting signatures until we tell ourselves like, oh, there's nothing to be afraid of. Maybe I'm safe within my being. And then you strengthen your spiritual immune system. And once your spiritual immune system is really fortified, then you won't really feel people's energies as much. And
Or you can pick it up and
you can
then
pick it up, exactly.
shift
and then
it very quickly.
Yep. Or you may just dismiss it.
That's true.
If it's like a negative signature and you already know that it's, you can just dismiss it.
But if it is even something that we would classify negative,
Right.
like how in support of what you're saying,
Yeah.
if it's triggering then something in you, then going in and healing that.
Exactly.
Because you're picking it up on the other person, and if there's anything that you're in resistance to, then that would be something
That's true.
to heal.
That's
within
true.
You.
Cool.
Nice. Good
Recalibrate.
question.
All right, let's see.
Thanks, Will.
Any insight on how to deal with my emotionally abusive dad? I feel broken. So this is tying into the empathy, actually. When we have an abusive parent or a friend or whatever it is, we walk on eggshells around them. And who wants to be jumping rope around someone all the time? It's exhausting. So you guys obviously have a contractual agreement that was placed and agreed upon before you were embodied into this reality. And so your entire soul's purpose is to defy that particular system of governance. So your dad's energy is governing you right now. And the idea is to...
Only because you're agreeing to it and accepting it.
Yeah, so then you have to fly in the face of it and be like, nope. And then you can start to learn to say no to people, to friends. And I actually suggest doing it with people that you do feel safe with. Like, hey, let's do an exercise right now. Ask me to go to the movies. Hey, Phil, do you want to go to the movies? Nope. Just like that. And then you'll feel that trauma come up, like, oh my God, I can't believe I just said no. Like I might get hit on the head or I might be verbally abused. But it's a great exercise to implement with your friends. You and your father definitely have a lot of karma together. I would advise you to, if you're living with him, leave. You need to cleanse the energy field and leave the nest. That way you can make your own mark on this world and come back from a sovereign place and just hold your own.
Yeah.
But anytime we have abusers, we can't really classify them abusers if we're still there or if we're still responding to that energy, right? The idea is to move away from those low frequencies that are bogging your energy down, that are making you feel so wounded. And then...
and that's hard because they're the father figure, which can be difficult.
Yeah, it can definitely be difficult.
I hear a change leader in the making. That's what I hear. And what I mean by that is some of us have incarnated with certain family dynamics and certain been witness to certain patterns, so being able to track the pattern that you're obviously seeing and sensing that is unhealthy, what you're classifying as unhealthy. And so you have this really amazing opportunity, which as totally, painful as it can be sometimes, you have an opportunity to then shift that pattern within you by seeing the example of what you don't want to create, of maybe what not healthy love looks like, right? Mm-hmm. And so we take on these patterns from our family dynamics, from what society says, from what our friends, all of these different things. And so those of us who really love stepping into being that change leader means that we're so sick of the way that pattern has been going that now we want to figure out to the best of our ability what that pattern is, and then how to shift it within ourselves, so then we're not either passing that pattern on to our children, or we're setting up a new, their new neural pathways in the brain
for the collective.
Too. Yeah, because when you do it, then you do it on such a grander level as well.
And also it's about really being that warrior of light. Mm-hmm. So in my neighborhood, I go for walks sometimes, and there's a man who always tries to induce fear in me. Mm-hmm. So he'll walk with a very aggressive thing, like he does it to a lot of people. But as a soldier of light, my responsibility is to anchor and be like, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to dull my sparkle. I'm going to stand in all that I am. And even if I get hit on the head, if I was to get a hit on the head, that would shift things planetarily and cosmically. So you have to be willing to go there, relinquishing your fears. If you're afraid of your dad's response, if you start to forge your own path, that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
To abandon the old energy system.
And knowing that he is your father, and so yes, there's the certain level of respect that you have for him, and yet also remembering that you are your own soul.
Yeah.
And you have your own lessons, and if those patterns, if you're here to then shifting those patterns, then he's that reflection for you to step so strongly into being that warrior. So even though he's come in and both of you guys have that karmic dynamic as father-son, remember that you're your own soul.
You're your own soul.
And you can take on the beliefs that you want to have. They don't have to be the same as his. Because if he's operating from his patterning that he got from his parents, and not everybody is stepping into that position of being like, I'm going to shift this.
Exactly. And you're your own soul, meaning as a soul, as your individual autonomous soul, we're not supposed to have parasites attached to us. So right now there are parasites attached, right?
To that
to
dynamic.
him and to then you. It's kind of like if you're in a relationship with someone who's really tight with their money, it's going to start off as oh babe, we can go somewhere cheap tonight, and then you end up taking on that demon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That lack mentality
because you're trying to appease your partner.
Right.
As opposed to being step out of your fear, go spend some money, whatever. So with, you know what I'm saying? But we do that all the time. We take on people's demons.
Yeah.
And these demons are they truly kind of breed more demons.
It's from how their operating system is.
Yeah.
And the same goes from advice that we take. So even if it's from your father taking it, you don't have to take advice from somebody.
Yes.
Even what we say, unless it resonates with you,
right.
We're only giving from our experience and things
exactly.
that, that we've found from our own experience. And so if it resonates with you, so awesome.
Yeah.
And either way, figuring out what that is that you want, what love means to you.
And right now you're running an enslavement program. Because for me, whenever I've been in abusive relationships, I always got downloads that in previous incarnations, I was a slave. So then you set up that dynamic over and over again until you're oh my God, wait, I set it up so that I can see that I do not want to be governed by anything or anyone
not this
anymore.
Lifetime, not next
not this
lifetime.
So it's about saying no. And that's only one of the lessons, because the lessons are endless. But let's try to nip as many lessons and graduate from them as much as we can.
Love that. Super great question. Hope that helped.
Awesome.
Thank
you guys for tuning in.
Let's see, what do we got? He says, you're out of breath. Are you okay? We were just scrambling to get everything
You're
going.
projecting. You're out of breath.
No, but we were chatting, and we always get in our modes.
So
I
high.
know. And naturally.
We're on when we're together, it's a creative energy.
And then we were oh crap, it's like almost time. We had 2 minutes to go. So, yes.
You look hungry. No, you're hungry.
You look hungry. Let's see. I've been seeing 11:11 nonstop. Yay, awesome. Hello, Samantha. Let's see. I've heard a few different explanations surrounding these numbers. What are your thoughts on it? Thank you. Awesome. Beautiful question. I like tapping into numbers. So 333 has always been my number. I think even there was another video where I mentioned my phone used to call me at 3:33 a.m. That was when I was going through my own dark night of the soul, Kundalini awakening gnarliness. And so, yes, the 1111s always showed up. So now whenever I see a 333 for me, I'll say it's like my guides or spirit, whatever you want to call it, is kind of like, yes, you're where you're supposed to be right now. So even if that means geographically, like I could be driving and it would be, you know, a gas station price, or I drive by and it's literally an address. And so then I'm like, okay, I am physically, my energy is physically where it needs to be on this planet at this particular time for whatever that is. And so I usually tap into myself and be like, okay, what messages am I getting right now? Or what do I need to kind of look around and see?
Yes.
Like what, it's always a reminder for me to get consciously present
For sure.
in that moment.
Nice.
So we try to do that as much as we can. And so
Yeah.
those are external symbols for me to remember to be consciously present. So, I mean, the 1111, some people say make a wish at that time, you know, sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's cool. It's just, it's another thing for me to just be present.
And another
whatever
opportunity to
messages.
reinforce your connection with your guides.
Yeah.
So at 11:11, when you
They
see
like
the
that.
11:11, be like, guides, I'm so grateful for this moment right now. Let's
Oh,
have
that's
more of
good.
these. And that way you're starting to...
Giving gratitude.
Yeah, you're enhancing your line of communication
You're
with
with them.
Yeah.
I like that. Totally dig that.
All right, this is a good question. How do we manifest financial freedom in the 3D reality?
Love that question.
Okay, so the first thing is we want to step outside of fear. So if you usually people who are afraid of money are afraid to spend it. Okay, so can you give yourself experiences that won't cost an arm and a leg, but that will still give you the feeling of feeling rich? Maybe going for a nice cappuccino at a beautiful coffee shop and immersing in that experience, you know, and really filling out that space vibrationally so that you can do that. So wherever you have resistance around money, don't be afraid to spend it. Because if you're honoring someone else, you're stepping into giving, and when we give, it always comes back tenfold. But the mind is going to play tricks with you, and it's going to tell you, no, you're losing $75 or you're losing $150, when in fact, what you're doing is you're honoring someone else's gift that they're channeling through Source, right? They're channeling God's gift, and that could be cleaning your house or whatever. Being a healer doesn't mean you're healing. It just means that you emit positive energy. So if you're honoring someone else, you're honoring the God in them. So to start stepping into that perspective.
I dig that a lot.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for me to tell you with this particular question is, I believe that we have relationships to everything. And how we do one relationship is how we do them all. So even how you do a relationship with a partner can also, you can find parallels in how you have a relationship with money. So if you were to think of money as a consciousness, let's say like a partner, how do you treat that relationship? What's your conversation in that relationship? Are you saying that there's not enough of it, that you feel in lack of?
And then you suppress your desires.
And then you suppress your desires. Are you one of those people that then when you do get money, you like, you know, save so much of it because there's out of fear of not, you know, going broke or like whatever the conversation is? And so money, if it was a relationship, if it was a person, would that person want to be held on to over here? Or would it want to be able to be free? And that doesn't mean, right, go out and spend all of your money frivolously and without conscious intention. But it just means looking into the relationship on what money is, because it's also an energy source.
And circulation.
And circulation. And so what you're trying to do with it or your thoughts about it, that's your relationship with it. And if you could shift that, then that consciousness and that relationship would then shift.
Yes.
So I think, you know, how to make money in the three, to really pinpoint on your question, because that was very general, just on the overall giving you the big picture on how to shift that relationship. But you're saying, how do you make money in this 3D reality? You can make money any possible way.
Exactly.
Like there is
Also,
unlimited amounts, and it has to do with what you would like to create, what you would like to share, what you would like to do, what your passion is, what your what training you might have. You can literally create something out of nothing.
it's true. And energy is like a fruit. A fruit gets it gets rotten, right? So energy does get old. So if you're hanging on to all that energy, you're hanging on to old energy, and it's going to expire. That's why sometimes when you hang on to it, there comes a month where you're like, I just need to get rid of it. Is because it has a certain expiration date, and you're supposed to circulate it. The other thing that I wanted to say, you guys, is how do we manifest in the 3D? By living from the 5D. All right. So when you no longer subjugate yourself to the limitations that are within the density of the 3D, then you can actually bend the 3D from the 5D.
Bending reality.
What exists in the 3D? Fear. So if you have fear around money, how do you then up level? You get rid of the fear. And then from that vibrational space, you can then bend all of that energy in the 3D.
What would that look? Do you like? What could we give? That's a maybe.
An example, like you're afraid, you have general fear, and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to go bungee jumping. In that moment, through that action of spending it or jumping off the cliff, you're nipping the fear. You're letting it know that it has no hold over you. So you transcend to a new level vibrationally on the moment. It's instantaneous. And then you keep boosting up into higher levels to where you're no longer governed by the construct of the third dimensional reality. And when you're no longer governed by that construct, then you can really have fun and shape it and mold it and do what you want with it. Because you don't have an attachment to it anymore. When we're in fear, it's because we have attachment. So if you don't have attachment to money anymore, then guess what? You can bend that energy because it's just energy. But you're doing it from that higher space, and you can do it more readily because you don't have an attachment to it, and you're governing it as opposed to it governing you.
Super good point. Okay.
Okay, sorry guys,
Sorry.
we're back.
It says my battery's low. Okay, I love that you said take action. So just to tie up that last question with making money, I bet that the universe, spirit, whatever it is actually giving you tons of opportunities to create money or to do something that then would repay you money. And so sometimes if we can step into being a yes person and then just taking action, even if it doesn't look the perfect way that you think that it should right now, or you're like, I don't know, just as long as it's a forward movement that feels good enough right now. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Small steps.
Small steps, baby steps, and then that could bring you to the next opportunity, or you could meet somebody once you get there that then would say, oh wow, okay, here's another opportunity. So as long as we're in the flow of being a yes person, then we're saying yes to money. We're also saying yes to opportunity. Don't be the negative that then is like, I don't know if I want to do that, or what if that's blah, blah, whatever the conversation is. I'm not saying that's you, but step into being a yes person, because I bet you have tons of opportunities you're just not saying yes to.
Yeah,
and let that lead you.
The primary thing that we resist the most,
Yeah.
and none of them are seeing our connection right now. So do you think that we should maybe start over?
Wait, but you still have...
Because a lot of people... Are you guys seeing us right now? Give us hearts if you can see us.
I've got hearts on
Oh,
my...
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I wanted to say...
Oh, that was from before.
Okay.
Because that was when,
I got you. Okay, so...
Time lapse.
What I wanted to say is the primary thing that we resist is the unknown. Because the unknown is God.
Yeah.
A source of light. Yeah. I call God the headquarters of the light.
Yeah.
Okay? So usually when we resist spending money, it's because we're still afraid of the unknown.
Right.
So what step can you take in the direction of the unknown? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, and remember
the
universe never is... This isn't... we're not here to evolve in a painful way. We suffer because we resist the growth.
Ooh.
The universe is never punishing you. All it's doing is informing you. So
damn, that was good. Say that again. The
universe isn't here to punish you. It's here to inform you.
Yeah.
So if you have the same resistance you had 2 years ago, the universe is like, dude, there's been like 7 iOS updates. the last 2 years, and your phone is still running the same.
There's been another iPhone.
There's been another iPhone, and you're still on Windows XP. Like, come on. Get it together, dude. So, that's my point. Upgrade. So, try to, every day, the second you step outside of your house, you get tons of opportunities.
And tons of information.
Yes.
Say yes to a couple of them. See what happens.
And step outside of your box, because the part of you that doesn't want to spend money is still afraid you're still in that box of conformity and comfort, and we don't grow in that. No, when we step out of the box of comfort, what this really means, metaphysically speaking, is we're willing to jump into a different paradigm and collect and draw information from that paradigm. New. Why do you think people love traveling so much? Because it's unknown, it's unfamiliar, and
you
they
get
always
to see
come
something
back.
New.
Totally.
And you're taking action.
Yeah, and then you come back like, oh my God, I'm invigorated. I feel renewed.
Yeah. Unless you get stuck in your old patterns by the time you come back. So try something new. Anything, whatever it is, and take it on like it's an adventure and like it's going to be fun. Don't look for what's wrong with it.
Right.
Just look for what opportunities could be there and what kind of fun adventure you could take on from there.
Totally.
Love that question. Really good question.
Next.
Next.
We love you guys.
You guys are rock. Awesome.
Tribe.
Yes, tribe. Let's see.
XOA, just be more specific, please, with your question. That way we can give you a very concise answer. Okay, good. Okay, good. Next question.
Let's see. Soulful Sunshine. Hello, beautiful.
Nice name.
I know, she's gorgeous. I still owe you a message too. I'm so behind. Okay, so what is the most effective way to cleanse your own energy, your home's energy, and your partner's energy? Okay, you need to ask permission for your partner, by the way. Herbs, affirmations, crystals. Okay, cool. There's a lot in that question, and there's so much that you can do. Let's see. So starting with, what's the first way to cleanse your own energy? Do you want me to start with this, or do you want to take
please.
this? Okay, so I study the, chakras that you guys are all, I'm sure, familiar with. You can look up something called the biofield. So just like your 7 primary, there's more than 7, but just like your 7 primary chakras, you also have 7 layers that go horizontal out from the body of your biofield. So whenever I'm focusing on opening and aligning my chakras this way, I also cleanse and open all of the layers the other way, because they have to do with the mental, the physical, the spiritual, the astral. There's another couple, but I can't think of those right now. So, but you can look it up. You can totally Google biofield, and it'll show you all the layers that are around the outside of the body. So there's that. For your home, I use my own technology, so I'll give a shout out to that if that's
Amazing
cool with you guys. You can go to Sovereign-Alliance. We make holograms that help protect from things like black magic, electromagnetic frequencies. They're all this geometric shape. It has to do with ancient Egyptian technology.
It's really powerful. And we have something else coming.
And we have
something
won't tell them. So fun coming. But yes, I put those all around my room and around my bed. So we have packages for that are specifically for that purpose, and it keeps the energy kind of clear for that. I know there are also a lot of other people that do different technologies, whether it's for your phones or your home or something like that. That's just, that's what I use because I use my own stuff. So, let's see, your partner's energy, like I said, you ask permission, but you could do a chakra and a biofield opening and aligning with them.
But I also think that because her energy isn't super aligned,
yeah,
she's then projecting that onto the home.
That can be, but that's what the holograms then transmute and all that stuff, because they take away. So anytime people are then projecting like even negative thoughts onto you and stuff like that, that gets filtered through the holographic system as well, because negative thoughts can also be considered, I don't want to say black magic, but they're just lower vibrational. So I hope that helps. But yeah, you can use crystals. I would just recommend cleaning your crystals so much, either under moonlight or taking them to the ocean or water, cleaning them in salt water or something like that, because crystals take on energy and then they amplify it. So usually now we have Wi-Fi in our house. We have, routers and all these different electronics. So they're taking on the electronic energy and then emitting that over the whole house. So you want to make sure that you clean those, like I said, either in, salt water. I usually put them in some salt water and then put them under the moon if I want to charge them with moon energy, or under the sun if I want to charge them with sun energy. So I hope that helps.
Cool. I don't have anything to add. That was perfect. All right, this is a good question. My grandma is emotionally draining. I feel not paying her enough attention to her because she feels unloved. Your problem is you're paying too much attention to her. That's why you're drained. No one is emotionally draining. They're only draining if you're in their vicinity. Do you understand, people?
Say that again?
Okay,
Nobody's
she's saying her
emotionally draining?
grandma is emotionally draining.
Okay.
And then she's saying she's not paying enough attention to her. She's paying too much attention to her.
That she's not paying attention to grandma, or grandma's
Yeah,
not paying
she's not paying enough
to her?
attention to grandma, and she's emotionally drained, and because she says her grandma feels unloved. Your grandma has her own journey with God and the universe. And the thing is, if no one can emotionally drain you unless you subject yourself to that environment. You care too much, and your grandmother has her own journey with the universe. And you're only responsible for taking care of you. And I want to reiterate this to everyone. When you take care of you, you're taking care of the entire universe, of everyone around you.
And then you have more to give.
Yeah, and they may not always agree with what you do.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, it doesn't matter if they don't, because you've just planted a seed of self-love towards yourself, which can then make them go inside themselves and find that same self-love. Mm-hmm. But if everyone's readily available to you all the time, or you're readily available to them, you're an enabler. And we're not supposed to be enabling people. That's why you're feeling drained. Your emotions are notifications from the universe that there's something that you're doing in your life that needs to change. Okay? So whenever you feel negative charges in your life, that's not a bad thing. It's the universe informing you. It's notifying to you that, hey, there's something that you're doing or someone that's in your life that you need to rid yourself of because it's taxing your energy.
Right.
And once you figure it out, once you decrypt the message, guess what? The stress is gone, the drainage is gone, the anxiousness is gone because you cracked the code. So your negative emotions are pointing to you that you've gone off track and we need to get you back on track. And your positive emotions are telling you that you're on track. So if you feel like your grandma is emotionally draining you, you're playing the victim. No one can drain you. No one can drain you. You do that to yourself by thinking that you're going to be judged if you're not there for her. What does that say about her? It means she still holds judgment. And as long as you're there, she's never going to clear that judgment.
And then there's obligation there. So you're not hanging out with grandma just to hang out with grandma. You're hanging out with her because now you feel obligated to hang out with her. Hence then the guilt. And then you're shaming yourself or you're not hanging out with her.
It's mental bullying.
I would say when you start feeling that energy pull from her, so like when you do it, because it's grandma, you kind of like, you got to hang out sometimes.
Like, so, you got to make her some cornbread.
And
you know what I'm saying? Like, make her some cornbread, some waffles, some fried chicken, whatever, you know?
That's awesome.
But then be gone.
Some oatmeal.
Like, I love you, grandma, but I got to go get a massage because your ass is draining me.
So, don't say that. Okay, so go and hang out with her, right? But then once you start feeling that pull, like she's trying to get more energy from you, right? Because she's older, so she doesn't have that generator within her.
Right.
So of course she's going to try to get more from you, right?
Yes.
And she's doing it unconsciously. So once you start feeling that pull, then like just plan something else or say, you know what, I've spent like a little bit of time with you and I love you and I have to go do whatever it is, the thing that you have to do. And the other thing that I would say is, if at all possible, do something with her that then also feels fun to you. So maybe it's not that you're sitting down and having to talk to her, right?
Yeah.
Which that could be draining.
Right.
But maybe you're going out and I don't know, are there Color Me Minds still? Like, go somewhere where you can, like, paint together, you know, so that there's some sort of creative action in that. That way that creativity will fuel you at the same time that you're spending quality time with grandma.
Yep.
But it doesn't have to just be whatever that thing is that you feel is draining you so far.
Do you know why me and Sarah called our new YouTube page The Compass? Because your internal compass is always letting you know what direction to go.
Yeah.
Your internal compass is always letting you know which direction you should go.
Yeah, totally.
So let's try to go north. Right? And up.
Yes.
But yeah, so whenever, and you can feel it, like when you go out with a friend for coffee and you spent an hour with them and then all of a sudden you're not feeling the same, you're like, that's your spirit guides communicating to you, whispering in your ear saying, hey, you guys have covered it. That's enough for today.
Yeah.
Right? Now let's get back to balance.
Yeah. Speaking of, quick little shout out that I think we can do, which is a great little segue. We have started, in case you didn't know, a YouTube channel that all of these lives will be on. So
and
the
more.
uploads and more. We're going to start doing way more
It's gonna be
videos for all of you
crazy.
guys. But go to that. I attached it as a link onto my YouTube.
Oh, good.
I don't know if you've attached it onto yours.
I have not.
We'll make all the links available, like...
I'll do a swipe up button tonight.
Swipe up, exactly. So I think Phil's been letting people know and all that stuff, but please go and subscribe there, because that's where all of the replays are going to be, aside from obviously on our stories for the next 24 hours. But we're trying to get as many subscribers as we can on there.
Yes.
Because
we have big plans.
We
we have a lot of
plans.
people we're ready to reach out to.
Yeah.
Work towards something really magical.
Yeah, so we need your help doing that. So if you guys would go and subscribe,
we all need each other in the world.
And more content coming for you guys. Okay, will you take a question, and I'm going to go get an extension cord because my battery says that it's dying and it's not going to last. So hang on to that. And I'll be right back, guys.
All right. Hello. Let's see. What does it mean when you're trying to move on from an ex, but you keep getting signs that are about the same person? To me, I have found that when an ex is an ex for a reason, okay? And the universe is sending that as an evaluation to see if you have indeed and are indeed going to stick with your decision. Okay, but it's, for me, I have found that it's just an evaluation. You're not supposed to revisit the past. You're supposed to keep plowing forward, right? So if you leave your ex and that's a conscious choice, you need to follow through with that choice. Or else you're going to be sending a very confusing signal to the universe that you don't know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, the universe doesn't know what to give you. So remember that. If you're easily reeled in by other people, you're going to be halting your growth and everything that's in store for you. So exes are meant to be exes, okay? If for any reason you break it off because they had some growing to do or vice versa, and then they come back to you and say, hey, I've really been working on myself, I've been in therapy, and I can see, and you really believe them, then you can revisit it. But the reason that his signature is still popping in your mind is because you guys did generate a unified force field together when you made love and when you were together. So that creates a telepathic connection. And yeah, it's going to take some time for that portal or for that force field to deactivate and dissolve, right? So be patient with yourself, but don't take the bait. Just because he's popping in your mind doesn't mean he's the one. It could just be a test that, are you going to get...
He could be a bad pancake.
He's a bad pancake. And are you going to want to score an A+ or a D? And an A+, and you're going to love this. An A for me
you know what the bad pancake is?
It equates to ascension. So whenever you score an A+ with your spirit guides, you're ascending because it's an A. A equals ascension. Oh. Don't you like that?
I dig that.
So your exes, they're exes for a reason.
Do you guys know what the bad pancake is? It's like the first
one
that you date after that long term, that they're just like doomed to be the bad pancake. Why?
Right.
Because the first pancake is always the bad one.
Yeah.
And sorry guys, I'm jiggling around because I just put the charger in and I don't know how to hold up my phone at the same time. So I'm just going to hold it so that I can be here with you. What do we got?
A guy has been consistently keeping up with me, but I've never allowed him to tap in.
Okay.
Something tells me I should, but he's very reserved and I continue to talk myself out of it. So, demystifying spirituality, I would say that whenever we feel reservations around something, that is your spirit team, your non-physical entourage looking out for you, protecting you. So if you feel like you're not organically letting go yet, trust that. Don't take the plunge too soon. Because it's amazing how the universe works,
Is this to this one the guy's been consciously keeping up with me?
Consistently keeping up with her, and she's never allowed him to tap in. And the truth is, you don't, your energy field and your emotions are yours. It's your secret with the universe. You don't always have to let people tap in. You'll know when it's time to give him access. You'll give him your alarm password to your soul.
I would trust your intuition on that, because there could be a reason that you don't know that's coming from your own intuition that's just saying, I don't know, it doesn't totally feel safe right now.
Right.
And trust that.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because your
doesn't mean he's a bad person.
Totally.
Just
your
means,
energies are intermingling. So if he's still holding energies within his subconscious that are making you feel like it's not time to let him in, trust that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Is there a way to kind of like simplify what I just said?
No, I think,
Okay, cool.
it makes sense to me. But I would just, so when you were saying like, okay, I keep trying to talk myself out of it, that's all from the mind. So if you're trying to talk yourself out of doing something that your intuition is saying, like, hey, hold on, pause, back up,
right?
Listen to us.
Yep.
Right? As opposed to then, like, whatever you think the mind is saying, or maybe what you think the fear is, like, if you don't let him tap in, then maybe there's a fear of leaving, or he's going to leave, or something like that, whatever. So not giving into that fear.
Yes.
Because there is an absolute reason, and one of the reasons why so many of us struggle with, like, self-trust and self-love is when we're not listening, and when we're trying to convince our brains or convince ourselves that our intuition is wrong.
Yeah.
So just
we try
trust
to
it.
over-rationalize, intellectualize. Like,
and
your
that's
mind
not your intuition.
your mind is going to try to eclipse you all the time, and the spirit knows.
Eclipse you. That's a good way to say it.
Yep. Stay in the heart. Trust what you receive. If you think your spirit animal is an owl, it is an owl.
Yeah.
You know, it's
and
like,
you're a woman, so your fluidity and your guidance, like you're the GPS.
You are the GPS.
He's supposed to be following where your guidance is taking the relationship. So trust that is part of your power in the relationship, and saying if something doesn't feel totally right now, then that is your power as a woman in the relationship.
Yes.
And if he honors that,
then
that's him tapping in enough into his feminine, saying, wow, yes,
exactly.
this is
That's
me
a good
supporting
point.
the feminine in you.
That's a good point.
So,
and then he's going to step up his game.
And then he's going to step up his game.
But, I mean, you can't pull out a fruit until it's right out of a tree. You can,
but it'll taste pretty bitter.
It'll taste bad, and then you have to add GMOs and shit. We don't want that. So yeah, just take your time with your process.
Totally.
You know, and everything.
Yeah, don't try to talk yourself out of it anymore. Just go with your own flow, baby. That's your feminine.
That's your flow. That's your goal. That's what's
gold.
gonna get that ring on the finger. You call the shots.
Stay true to yourself. Exactly. You choose, baby girl. You choose. Love that. Really good. I hope that helped. Let's see.
To people who are asking me, how do I connect with my spirit guides? You're already connected. Listen. So it usually starts with your emotions. And then once you really understand that your emotions are whispers from your guides, it's going to transcend to telepathy. So you won't take it into the body anymore as an emotion. And then once you transcend telepathy, you can become the spirit guide. I'm just saying. It's like it starts as your emotions. So you listen to your emotions. As you do this, you're receiving the messages concealed by your guides that are in those emotions. And then as you transcend that and you're able to kind of dissect your emotions, then you go more into the telepathic realm, and then
tracking them from the observer point of view, not being attached to what the emotion is, just being able to see
but you're all connected with your spirit guides. You know, if something is not going well in your life right now, that is a message that is trying to be decoded. You just have to do the work to figure out what that is. We're all puzzle solvers.
Totally. And our spirit guides, like, they will not, it's the subtle voice within us that taps into our intuition, but they will not interfere unless we ask for help.
Yep.
So everybody that may be on here that's like, how do I connect more to my spirit guides? How do I hear them more? You have to ask for their help. You have to ask them to step in some way and giving you clear signals.
Right.
Because they don't, just like how we need to ask permission whenever we're doing something with somebody, energetics or whatever, like, they're waiting for permission. They're waiting for you to ask.
But there's a law of non-interference.
There's a law of non-interference, so they're not going to interfere unless you say, I need a little help here.
I mean, as humans, we're very respectful of one another when we're conscious, so I'm not going to give Sarah advice and interfere unless she asks me.
Yes.
Now take it up a notch or a few notches. Your angels are definitely not going to interfere. No. They're not doing karma. We're doing karma right now.
Right. They don't do karma.
They don't do karma. All right. They don't do karma.
That's not on their job application. Okay, let's see. I've noticed a lot of people are having, this is green light health. I've noticed a lot of, so many people are developing anxiety. So what do you mean by developing anxiety? And I'm wondering what you would recommend in terms of how to love them best, but also protect my own energy.
Can I just say one thing before you answer? You don't develop anxiety. You feed into an anxiety that already is. The anxiety is already floating in the collective mind.
Yes.
And you're just feeding into it, and then it just starts to snowball. But go ahead.
And I love how you say it. How would you recommend in terms of how to love them best, but also protect your own energy? So unless you, I gave this example on a call with a client the other day. All emotions, right? Imagine them, like if somebody's having an emotion, right? So these people are having anxiety, the emotion, and that's like a ball that they're holding. If they could pull it out, from their bodies and see it, and it would look like a ball. And then now they're tossing that ball to you, and you have the choice as to whether to catch the ball or not catch the ball. Like, I'm really shitty at catching balls.
Yeah, you're more of a pitcher.
I'm not a good catcher, right? Somebody chucks something at me and I'm like, shit, and I get totally clumsy with it. Okay, so become really bad at catching energetic balls, because then what happens is it's their anxiety, but then when you catch it, it will activate whatever anxiety is in you, and then now you think that it's yours only because it activated, since we all have all of those different emotions within us. Holding on to it and catching the ball now activates it within us.
Yep.
Don't catch the ball.
Yep.
Just let it fumble.
And the anxiety isn't new. Yes, people seem to be going haywire right now, but that's an anxiety that's been buried under the ground for thousands of years.
Totally.
So nothing is new, so to speak. It's just that a lot of that darkness is, my sister said you're on fire. A lot of that darkness is bubbling up.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And then you have a choice to either feed into it, buy into the story, or remain in your alignment and choose to vibrate beyond it.
Totally. I have one other note for that just came through too. You're trying to fix something for them. So if you're in the space of then needing to fix it for them, because you're like, how do I love them but then protect myself at the same time? Are you trying to do something or fix it or help them or whatever? And if you're in that space, then you're putting them in the victim position, meaning that there's something wrong with what they're going through.
Right.
Where their experience is just their experience.
Which then makes you feel like you have to protect your energy.
You have to protect your energy and protect yourself from how you're victimizing them because they're the ones going through anxiety. Honestly, just hold the space for them. Just be there as whatever they would need in that moment. Do they need somebody to just verbally vomit on? Do they need somebody to just fucking hold them because that grounds them? Like, whatever it is, just asking them what they need, not trying to come up with what you think that they need.
Conditioning a safe space for them.
Conditioning a safe space.
We always go back to the people that don't judge us, for advice and for things, because they're holding that space.
Yeah.
That's what being a healer is. It's just like, hey, holding
let's
a
get through
space.
This together.
Yeah.
Not like there's something wrong.
Not encroaching and being like, you should do this and you should do that. No, like I'm accepting, I'm trusting that everyone is exactly where they need to be in their divineness.
Totally.
And I'm holding the space.
And sometimes people just need a fucking hug.
Yeah.
Like, what if that was a simple, that grounds them, that makes them feel safe, that makes them feel like centered and connected, not in the head, especially like if it's a women's greatest way to get out of the head is just like be like physically touched, even if that's just a hug or whatever, that will instantly ground a woman.
You won't have to protect your energy, you guys, when you learn to really anchor in your truth.
Yeah.
You're going to walk into a room and you'll be like, here I am.
Totally.
Right?
And anchoring the truth, you don't catch balls.
And then you might feel like things might get projected onto you because you're carrying your torch of light. But then you're like, and you're like, it just falls off.
Totally.
So that's
like, oh, ball.
Yeah, you don't need to protect your energy. You're safe. This is a beautiful universe where we can really let go and continue to let go.
Right.
That's what we're most afraid of.
We don't have to catch anything. We don't have to hold on to anything.
Yeah.
We get to believe what we want to. You don't have to take on other people's beliefs.
You don't.
You don't
and
have
catch
to.
yourself in the beginning stages, because we tend to make agreements. Like if Sarah says to me, like, do you want chocolate chip ice cream? And I don't want it. I'm like, yeah, I'll have chocolate chip ice cream. That's the beginning of bondage. That's when you start to dig on. I went against my truth from the get-go, as opposed to honoring my truth.
Right.
You know? And so if you can honor your truth with people from the get-go, hey, do you want to go see this movie? No, I'm not feeling it. You know? And that's it. You live your truth. And people will either accept you or not accept you.
Totally. And that's on them.
Exactly. They'll either vibrate with you or they'll vibrate.
Totally. Ain't no shame.
Ain't no shame in the game.
Ain't no shame. No shame in the game.
No shame. I want to just do a quick shout out for Sarah tonight, just because we talked earlier today, and she's going to be offering something really generous to 2 lucky people tonight.
Yes.
I'm excited about this.
We're like, how can we best support you guys even more? And so, yes, my schedule is totally booked up, but I wanted to start making something available to all of you amazing community that's on here. I should say specifically to 2 people that at the end of this live.
Any 2 of you.
Any 2, yeah, either on Phil's side or my side, I'm slashing my hour rate to $150. So just for 2
tonight.
people, just for tonight.
2 people.
So either message me or message message me.
Message Sarah Delane.
And say,
or message me if you don't have access to her account, and then I'll
That's
forward
true.
the message.
Yeah. But first come, first serve. The first 2 people, I will be doing a 1-hour session for $150.
Yep.
Only 2 people
for
this week.
No strings, just $150.
No strings, just $150. And I can't do any more than 2 people this week because I'm like overbooked, but I want to be able to give you guys as much support. So if there's something that you're dealing with as far as clarity or passion, purpose, whatever that is, I'm opening that up
just
for
message her directly.
2 special people tonight. All right, should we go? We love you guys.
We love you
so
guys.
Much.
Love you. You guys rock.
What do we have? Was that on my side or was that on your side, the last one?
Because we still have time, right?
We do, I think.
We can take we're soul siblings.
Yeah, we've got like 5 minutes. We're not, the markdown's not yet.
You guys are siblings. Okay, I'm in love with God.
We are siblings. We're soul siblings from like past life in Egypt somewhere.
We are. We can remember past lives. How can we remember past lives? We can. It's just a matter of like, if you're in, let's say, a grocery store line and you're feeling impatient, that is your past life reenacting in that moment. So it's stemming from a trauma from a previous life. So I'll give you an example. If in a previous life something happened to you where you felt unsafe, then it would make sense that you start to control your environment so that you can feel safe, right? If you're in a grocery store line and you don't have control over the lineup, your trauma starts to surface. You get it?
Yeah, and that's why we're always trying to have control, because we feel like we don't have certainty. You don't have certainty of anything.
Yeah, so whenever you feel...
spirit flow.
Totally. So whenever you feel that negative emotion start to surface, that is your past life enacting in that moment. But don't get too caught up in the past lives. Our memories were wiped for a reason. Everything you need to know is right here, right now. And... yeah, we neutralize the charges by being present with them, by acknowledging them, by experiencing the emotion so that it can be released. Don't focus too much on the past.
Yeah, learning the lesson from the past, like whatever that karma was in the past. Yeah, I agree with you, not kind of keeping on to what the memory of it is, more going into it and finding what the lesson was behind it.
Right.
Because then that's what can... that's basically why we're tapping into it anyways. Yep. Is to find what that lesson is. So, was the question how to tap in?
No, why can't we remember our past lives? And we can remember them. It's just a matter of being the observer as that rush of negative emotions comes in.
There's a way to do it, because otherwise it'll trigger, if it's not done properly, it will trigger all of the past emotional karma from that like previous life, and it'll trigger then in your emotions. Yeah. Like now, then in this life.
So if someone is like ignoring you, then you, in that moment, disassociating from that emotion, you might be like, oh, I was abandoned in a past life, and now I'm feeling rejected and abandoned because I was abandoned in a past life.
Totally.
But remembering that even in previous lives, we've dealt with similar issues as we're dealing with now. They're the same issues. They're just, it's the same energy. It's just recycled. Yeah. And it's in a different wrapping paper.
And I had somebody actually like trigger that in me, which was kind of their like intention, which I didn't think was actually appropriate now looking back on it. But they were like, oh, this happened to us in a past life. And then it hit me and it hit my heart, and all of the emotions came flooding back from that past life. But I didn't ask for that. So that's another way, like they didn't ask for permission to then do that, but all of those emotions came back, and then I had to process through those emotions in this lifetime because it hit it to me in a very like associated way for this lifetime. So there's ways to look at the past in a way that won't open up those old wounds, and then finding the lesson from there.
Yes. Good.
Karma clearing, yo.
Karma clearing.
I like this question. This is for Odie Marie. How do we get rid of the fear of seeing spirits? I've been seeing spirits and entities, but start getting scared. How do I let go of the fear and allow myself to connect with them? Okay, really great question. Do you want to take that real quick?
Just real quick, this just came to me, is like, don't get too focused on connecting with them right now. See the beauty in your evolvement, in your process.
Oh, I like that.
So like, yeah, you're starting to see entities, that's bringing up old fears from past lives, from all of this, and then process through those fears and be with the journey of it. That's where you're growing. Yeah,
I really dig that.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean, because when they pop up to me too, then of course we have, there can be, I'll say this, so there can be a fear attached to it because it's something unknown. So as we were saying before, right? Like whatever is unknown to us or new to us, then of course we don't have experience. It's like the first time that you learned to ride a bike. Like you had fear of it.
Yes.
Until then you got into the practice of it. So I love that you said that. You're like, just be in the experience
totally.
And
also
of it right
remembering
now.
that the fear isn't necessarily coming in, it's coming up so that it can come out.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
So different things, different circumstances elicit different responses that are already within us. But those energies, like our cells go dormant sometimes. And that's why when you travel or when you're in a new relationship, all these new feelings surge up. But those feelings aren't new. They're actually historical. They're just waking up in that moment. They're being triggered.
And I want to say with that, though, because so I would, whenever that does happen, if you can bring yourself back to the heart, right? Because that's where love and that's where compassion and everything is, and that's where your strength is, right? Because fear's in the head. So if you can consciously bring your energy here to the heart, and then like not getting too in communication with them, but the only thing that came up to say is then at least asking, are they of the highest, or of are they of positive intent? And so making sure that when they are coming around, that it's something that has a positive intent for you, right? And I don't want to then elicit then fear onto that, but right when we're seeing spirits on one level, there's spirits on all kinds of different levels, right? And with different intentions. And so knowing that if you have the power and the ability to then be seeing them, then you also have the strength and power within you to declare what is allowed in your space and what is not allowed in your space, and letting that come from your heart and your core power here, but from your heart, and saying, this is what is allowed in my space, and if you're not of that space, then that's probably not what you want to be communicating with anyways.
And it's all in the name of developing your inner strength.
Exactly.
And what I've found is when you're really strong within your being, someone can try to then project fear onto you, but you're so strong that you know it's not yours.
Totally.
So you're like, you don't even feel it.
Yeah. Just go right in the heart.
I want to answer this guy because he's been trying all session. Hey, guys,
cool.
What do you do if the universe slaps you with what you've wanted for a long time? I just heard his excitement. He's happy that we're answering. For a long time, but then you're afraid or shy to grab it. I would say that you're afraid to grab it because you're afraid of failure. Okay? And you owe it to yourself to freaking grab it. Grab it.
That's the ball you can catch.
You grab it. And you know why you're not... And let me go a little deep with you for a minute. The reason why you're not grabbing it is because you're not able to receive. So when people pay for your meals, you're like, no. I can't. So it's a block in your second chakra. We need to unblock the second chakra by receiving what it is that the universe is putting on a silver platter for you, right? That's going to heal you on a holistic level.
That's awesome.
But if you're not able to receive a compliment, if you're not able to receive a dinner from a friend,
what resistance do you have?
What resistance do you have around receiving?
Love that.
So just the reason why he's afraid to grab it is because something bad happened when he did grab it at one point. Like it came with a condition.
Right.
But what you need to know is that the universe is throwing this your way because you're not going to attract the people you used to. So grab it.
And
You got this. Grab it. It's a gift. Receive the gift.
Yes.
And you ask for a better life, but how can you have a better life if you can't receive the betterment that the life is throwing at you?
And that's so even though that's a guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so even though you're a guy, everybody has a balance of masculine, feminine energies, or at least if we can get to that place of having balance of masculine, feminine energies within. So the feminine is the receiving.
Yes.
So the more that then you can step into that.
Sink into the feminine.
And sink